So I guess we're back for another story time. I have thought about this for a while, and a lot of my friends are like, you need to tell the story of your divorce and the ending of your marriage." And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that because, we have children together. I don't want to do that. So after talking with my kids were like, "You should tell it, Mom. You've kept your mouth shut this whole time." And FYI, all of our friends are messaging us like, please have your mom tell her story. We want to know. So I've gotten a lot of new followers on my dating journey. So some of you may not care, but this is the story of the demise of my marriage, I guess. It's one way to go about it. I will start out with this. Try not to touch my hair. This is just what happened I'm going to talk probably about a lot of it because it'll be a lot of parts, but I want to say this up front. It takes two people for a marriage to work, and it also takes two people for it to crumble. I was not blameless in this. It's not like I haven't had any fault in it, and I'll probably talk about some of that stuff too. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say. I'm literally just talking to the camera, so I don't know if how I'll go about it, but I do want to put that out there first. I had just as there's just as much blame to me as to him. It didn't work out. I think that us divorcing was for the best for both of us. I really do. And he's very happy now. He's engaged. He's getting married. Happy for him. Have a great life. It's just, I hope that she makes you happier than what I did, especially at the end. But I did, I met him when I was 21. We got married at 22. I got pregnant, so we got married. But I will say, we were like, oh my gosh, we're so excited we can get married, because we didn't think we had enough money to get married. So anyway, we built a beautiful life, in my opinion. I was so happily married to him for 20 years. Then he had some health issues, and I won't go into all that, but anyway, and so he changed, not changed careers, went back to what he did before. He is an electrician, and he had an electrical contracting company. He opened a small business, and so he was really busy growing his business. And about that time, our kids were teenagers, and I was, I would go help out at his office and stuff. And then I do ultrasound for a living. I would do ultrasound, just like one day a week I was working. So basically I was running kids around and, teenage running, I had the party bus, I had a Suburban. I'd pile up kids all in my car and drive them all around. So during that time, in our earlier years, we were very, very, very close. And as time went on, as the kids got older and he's trying to grow a business, my focus was more on the children and his was more on his business. And I really didn't see a problem with it at the time. I'm like, this is just a phase we're in. This is just one of the stages. Got to have money to live, and kids have to have parents. So I was like, it's a good dynamic we've got here. I've got the home front, and you are paying for everything. I did contribute a little bit back then. So he always controlled our finances. I said all that to say this. He did control our finances. So, and I from the time we got married, he always did. I couldn't even tell you how much our electric bill was back then. I had no idea. I would just literally say, hey, I need to go to the grocery store. Is it okay? The kids need school clothes. They need whatever. Am I good? And he'd just say yes or no, and then I'd go, and that was our dynamic, and it worked for 20 years. So during that time, when I was more with all the teenagers and he was at work, he's got his side of the story. This is just mine. This is my story. Seen memes on it. I'm like, you don't get to control the narrative of what I went through. So this is just what I went through. Again, it's not like I've never made a mistake or contributed to anything. I had my faults too. But he did control all the money and stuff. And so I think just with him building a business and trying to get that off the ground, and then you've got as kids get older, they get more expensive, and then here he's trying to juggle like all the budget over at the business and the budget at home. Well, we didn't have a budget at home, but the budget at home, whatever you want to call it. I think it just stressed him out. That's my opinion for living with him. I think that's what it was. But I don't know. But he started drinking a lot more, and he was his own boss, so he could drink. And so I had gone back to work full time, like right after COVID. And so I wasn't around him at all during the day. I was working full time. The kids were older. I was like, well, I mean, 2 of the 3 of them drive. I get home an hour after them. I'd rather go to work than sit at home and watch Netflix and play with my dog. So, so then I was making it was a good second income. And when we had, our middle child was about to graduate from high school. And we had seen how much he was drinking, and he would talk about how he's not going to drink anymore. Like, I'm not going to drink at the office. Well, he had no boss, so he could drink at the office. And then he'd come home and then drink at home, but he was saying he wasn't going to drink anymore, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I drink too. I mean, it's not, I didn't realize how bad the problem was. So he had passed out on the toilet, and it was snoring, and a friend of his was over. They had all been out the lake, and I mean, I get it. You're at the lake, have some drinks, whatever. My daughter, my mom, and I were in the kitchen making food for her graduation party, and somebody was like, well, where is he? And I'm like, probably asleep on the toilet. And they're like, does he do that often? And we're like, yeah. And he asked me, he was like, let me ask you. He's like, does he drink when he comes home? And I was like, Peyton and I looked at each other. We're like, yeah, it's my daughter. And we're like, from the moment he walks in the door until he either passes out or just decides to go to bed, which he usually would. Usually I'd walk in from work and he'd be just passed out on the chair. And we were like, why? Does he drink at the office? Because he said, he had told us, he said he wasn't drinking when he came home. We're like, he is. And I said, he told us he's not drinking at the office. And he was like, when I walk in at like 6:30 in the morning, he's already drinking. So I'm like, oh gosh, we have a problem, like a bad problem. So anyway, that's when it got real bad. I was trying to be supportive. I quit drinking anywhere around him. I was like, well, I won't do it. Well, he was like sneaking it. I could smell it on him. He was lying to me about it, lying to our kids about it. So I had told him, I was like, you literally broken my trust. So I'm done. If you want to kill yourself drinking, you kill yourself drinking, but I have 3 kids, not 4, and I will not parent you. You do what you want. Well, he kept drinking. One of our kids told him, if you don't stop drinking, then I won't have a relationship with you, and he chose to. So those what I was saying in some of my other videos, you kind of chose this he made some decisions, and they've had repercussions to this day. So that's a backstory of kind of how it led to us about to get a divorce. So part 2 will be next, because my videos are entirely too long, but I didn't touch my hair much. Okay, I'm gonna make a part 2 tonight. There's much more to come. This is just the backstory. I'm like, let me just lead up to I put divorce part 2. Let me just this is just what was happening and how it ended up getting to that stage. So our middle child had graduated from high school, and our oldest one was in college already. And so she went to UT in Knoxville, so she didn't live here. He went to school close to where he commuted, but I'm pretty sure he had moved out by then. So it was, but we all spent a lot of time together, and like when they would, come over for weekends or whatever. So, or when like our daughter would come home, and anyway, and even just holidays and stuff, like you can imagine, maybe you can't, I mean, holidays, like calling our kids, just saying terrible things to them. I'll just say that. I'm not going to say what he said. I don't want to trigger anyone. Like, it was just, he wasn't violent at all, ever. I mean, he would yell, but, and get agitated and things like that real easily. But I mean, he was drunk all the time, literally all the time. But he said some very, very mean things to all of us. And I would tell him, I'm like, you you don't think you're mean, but your words are mean. They're mean. And so by that time, I mean, we were just coexisting. We were literally just living under the same roof. I wasn't an affection towards him. He wasn't towards me. He was mean in his words. A lot of times, not all the time, but, well, most of the time. He never did anything with us. I mean, we would go, hey, we're going to go get something to eat. No, I'm not going to go. I'm going to sit here. I would get up on Saturday mornings when I would walk out of our bedroom, and he was already drinking. He would just sit at home and drink. That's all he did. He wouldn't even go and do anything with me and our kids, ever. I mean, we were on our way to the beach, and he was like, oh, let's stop at Cracker Barrel and eat breakfast. They have mimosas there. And I'm like, you're not going to drink and drive we're driving 8 hours to the beach. Like, no. And he got so mad he didn't speak to me most of the day because I wouldn't let him drink at breakfast when he was going to be driving us to the beach. Like, it was bad. So that gives you some examples. You get an idea. Like, it was just bad. It was bad. So we had our youngest child at home, and I was just very much like, I mean, we all were like, wanted the best for him, obviously. I mean, he's my husband. He's the kid's father. And I'm like, we just need to pray for him and hope for the best. And I would try to talk to him. Of course, that would always end up in an argument. And then I got to where, I mean, I didn't even talk. I would cry, physical tears when I would leave work on Friday. I'm like, I don't want to go be there all weekend. I don't want to go. And I would be giddy and excited on Sunday nights just so I could go back to work. Yeah, that's how bad it was. But I'm like, I don't want to be divorced. Like, here we've been married all this time, and we've been married a long time. I'm like, we just need to love him through it, and we need to pray for him, and this, that, and the other. But he refused. It's like he just kept drinking more and more. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, maybe I did more damage than good trying to keep my family together and staying as long as I did, because my kids got really hurt in it. There's things that he did that hurt them. There may be things that I did that hurt them, and they just haven't told me. I'm very, very, very close to all three of my kids, but they haven't told me anything. But I might have too. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you, I wasn't blameless in all this. I stayed and allowed my children to be around that, and I shouldn't have. I mean, I did other things too. I don't mean just that. So anyway, it got to a point where our youngest, she was a senior in high school, and she was marking. I don't even know if he ever knew, marking his vodka bottle to see how much of it he was drinking every night. He was going through like a handle of vodka in like a day or two at home, and he could drink at the office too. So, she was just, she was 17 probably at the time. Not a very good environment. But she and I would like sit up and talk, and I would talk to her through it. Like, we're just going to try to be there for dad, blah, 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 blah. And I was in Knoxville with, our middle child for her 21st birthday. She was born on Halloween, so I had to go to spend that day with her. So, but my youngest she's in the band, and she had to be there for a game. And so she stayed, and she was going to drive up to Knoxville the next day on the next day, whatever. I don't know. I think the game was on a Thursday night, which is weird. But anyway, I remember her birthday was on a Thursday. So my daughter's actual birthday, her band director called me, and I was the president of the booster club. I mean, I was like I'm just a mom, and she was like, "Hey, look, I need to talk to you. I know your situation because I'm close to you, but like, I need to share this with you." She was like, "Your daughter is not herself." She was sitting in the back with the hoodie up over her head and like just not talking to anyone. She's like, and that's not like her. She's usually like laughing and talking. And she was like, so I pulled her in the office, and she just broke down crying, just lost it. Like, my dad, my mom's out of town, and I'm stuck there with my dad, and I'm hearing him say to my mom, like, I haven't drank anything since you left. And she's like, I'm watching him do it, and I'm watching how much he's drinking. And I'm usually okay because my mom is here, but my mom isn't here right now because she's with my sister for my sister's birthday. And it's just really hard when she's not around. And she was like, I just think that you need to be aware. And I was like, you know what? It's time. My girls had been begging me to leave him, begging me. And it got so bad that I just was trying, I didn't want my family to break up. So she ended up coming up with us, and we, of course, I'm very close to them. We talked about everything. I tried to be there for them. But the next week I went and saw an attorney, and I was like, look, I'm not ready to pull the trigger yet, but I just kind of need to know my options. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, how does this even work? I don't even know. Like, why am I in a divorce attorney's office right now? But I am. Here we are. And she was like, that's fine. I was like, let me just at least get through the holidays, because it was November. And I was like, let me at least get through the holidays. And she was like, that's fine. She's like, but after hearing what you've told me so far, she's like, he's going to piss you off and you're going to blurt it out. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. And we will get into that next.
All right. So here is part 3 of my divorce story. So we left off, I'd seen an attorney, and then we had, and this is, so then fast forward to December. That was in November of 2024. In December of 2024, it was like right at the beginning of December, we had gotten in an argument, as we always did. And if we did speak to each other, we would just fight. And he and I just my attorney was right. I just blurted out. I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, this is just, it's over. I was wrong in one of my last videos. Our daughter she was in a senior in high school during this time. She was a junior. I had that wrong. So she still had a year and a half left of high school. And I was really hoping that I could at least make it long enough till she graduated from high school and got her off to college and stuff. But I couldn't do it anymore. So during that weekend, that was a Friday night. During that weekend, he was very much like, let's not tell our parents yet. Let's not tell the kids yet. Well, I mean, our daughter could hear everything that was going on. They knew. But during that weekend, he had shared with me where we were financially. And I was in complete shock. Let me say this. There's nobody to blame but myself. Okay. This is my fault. I trusted him. I had been, we'd been married for 25 years, and he always did our finances. And I never questioned anything. I trusted him. And when he laid everything out for me, like, I thought I worked for fun. I, in fact, did not just work for fun. I'm like, how did we end up here? And there's no way I can pay for half of this. He was definitely the breadwinner. And hindsight, I think he was trying to keep me from leaving, because he was very, very, at the time, he was very, very upset. He was like, let's go to counseling. Can we, like, we can work through it, blah, 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 blah. And then I got scared. I was like, how am I gonna be able to take care of kids? I don't know. So I was like, you know what? We'll try. So my daughters like sat me down that weekend, and they were like, Mom, he's manipulating you again. Like, you never see through it. And he, like, once I got out of it, in hindsight, yeah, he did a lot. But anyway, I my middle child that was in Knoxville, she was like, Mom, if you do not get my sister out of there, I'm going to quit school, and I'm going to come home, and I'm going to get her, and I'm going to get a job in an apartment and get her. You've got to. And my youngest was crying to me. She's like, Mom, I am literally just slowly watching my dad kill himself. I don't care. We don't have to live, because we had, a nice home. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, your life is going to change drastically. She's like, I don't care. Please get me out of here. So I had, over the weekend, we had said, okay, we're going to try. Well, I came home from work that Monday, and I was like, there's, I'm done. Like, there's no way. Like, I don't trust you anymore. I mean, you hid all this behind my back. I'll get into the finances stuff that he hid next, but I was like, you. I can't be with someone I don't trust, and I don't trust you anymore. So there's no way it's going to work. And I needed to get my daughter out of there. So for the next couple weeks, he just moped around. I started staying upstairs, and my daughter that lives in Knoxville, I stayed upstairs in her room. So we were just living separately in the same house. We were selling our house and splitting the equity out of it. And so for a couple weeks, it was just, I mean, like crying, begging, like driving the kids crazy, like just, I mean, wanting for us to all stay together or whatever. And then I think it was, yeah, it was Christmas. Christmas is when things changed a lot. I'll move on to what happened at Christmas. That'll be my next part. But what he had told me about the finances, or what he put in front of me, he had actually had taken out like thousands of dollars in credit card debt. I think it was like, if you're rounding up, it was $30,000. I think like 27, $28,000 in credit card debt in my name behind my back. Um, Not all in my name. There was one that was like, I think it was $436 was his name. So not all. We gotta be honest here. So I am I'm just, this is how I live. I don't like debt. I don't like credit cards. That's why he was hiding it. And to this day, I don't know where all that money went. I'm like, well, where's the statements when what did you spend the money on? Family stuff. That's all I got was family stuff. That's all he would ever say. Family stuff. Well, what family stuff? Just stuff. So to this day, I still don't know where all of what all he spent that money on. I went to go try to get an apartment. Found out when I did that, I had a 590 credit score. So not only did he take out those credit cards in my name, the only thing I saw in statements, and they went back for a few years when I finally got a hold of them, was just late fees and finance charges. That was it. Never paid anything towards anything. And what he did pay came out late. So my credit was just demolished. Yeah, it was a 590, and it's better now, but that's where I was. So he had, like I had said earlier, not wanted to tell anyone about anything. Well, during that time, even though he asked me not to say anything, like he called my parents, or I'm not sure if he called my mom. My mom already knew, but call my dad, and I'm like, you had no right to do that. Like, that's my family. Like, he was trying to get people to convince me to stay. He was very, very much just upset. And I mean, I get it was a 25-year marriage. I get it. He's not good at being alone. And so he wanted for our family to have one last Christmas together, just the five of us. Usually his parents would come over. He's an only child. And our parents were friends. So we would all spend Christmas together. And he was like, I don't want to have grandparents over. Um, let's just do the five of us. I was like, okay. So we did. And all he did was just sit in his chair on his phone all day. Didn't speak to us. Just, which he'd been real pouty over the last couple weeks, so we really didn't think much of it. And we were all in the living room. I'm a huge sports person, so we were watching the Chiefs game, and like our son was over, and like everyone, all of us were in the living room, and everything after that day, he just didn't speak. And the next day, he woke up a completely different person, and so excited and so great. Angie, you're right. We do need to get a divorce. We do. We do. We'll get into that in part 4. Okay, I'm going to try to make a part 4 real quick. I still have 20 minutes left on my lunch break. So, anyway, so we're at Christmas, and the day after, he had changed so much. And he had told me that night, that he had to leave like real early the next morning. He probably wasn't going to be home that night. And I was like, well, okay, you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, whatever. He's like, well, since we're still living under the same roof, I just wanted to, I thought it was common courtesy to let you know, but I'm going to be leaving at like 4 o'clock in the morning because I have to drive to Nashville for meetings and I have to go that early to beat the traffic. And I'm like, no, you don't. You go to Nashville for stuff all the time. And I used to drive to Nashville all the time when I was in clinicals. No, it's 6:15. You need to be out of by the house by, but whatever. So that was a red flag to me, and I was like, I'm gonna have my little radar up, and then he did end up coming home that night, and I mean, just giddy. I mean, he was like, you just don't understand things are going to get better. There's just things that have transpired in my life. He would always say, something's transpired in my life, and blah blah. Anyway, so he was like, you'll just see. I'm like, okay, so whatever. When he got home that night, he was just giddy, and I'm like, what's up with you? You just have this smirk on your face. You just can't stop smiling. And he was like, no, nothing. I don't know. I don't know. So I can't remember if that was a Thursday or a Friday, but I remember telling my girls, I was like, I think your dad's found him a girlfriend. And they're like, there's no way, Mom. There's no way. He's obsessed with you. I'm like, I don't know. I think he did. So Saturday morning, it was the Saturday morning, and we had our house was. I mean, we had built our house in 2005. We lived there for 19 years, raised 3 kids there. Like it packed. I mean, it took forever to go through everything, and so we were trying to like go through things and pack and stuff. So I had gone downstairs. I was making some coffee because I had been sleeping upstairs. Went down and made some coffee, and I had walked across the living room for something. I doesn't matter. And he had fallen asleep with his thumb like on his phone. I don't have like if you like fall asleep or have your finger on your phone, it'll hold the screen. And so I just wasn't even looking. I just walked past right behind him, looked down, and whoops, he was texting his mom. His mom with my kids in the back seat of their car. They had taken them on a trip to Gatlinburg. They always went after Christmas. So my children are in the back seat of her car, and she's texting. He's sending his mom all this information about this new girl. So of course, I mean, my heart immediately. I was like, oh my god. I mean, it was a gut punch. I'm not gonna lie, because I really never expected that. I trusted him in every area. I mean, technically, it was cheating, but I mean, I was leaving. I mean, we were separating. Our marriage was over. So, but it was still like 2 week or 2 days ago, 1 week ago, whatever. You're begging me to work things out, and it was just like, you know what? I found somebody else, and he just tossed me off like an old piece of garbage, and that's what was hurtful. It didn't bother me that he was with someone, which that surprised me that didn't bother me. I'm like, I could imagine them together, and I literally didn't care. What I cared about was how he just dismissed me, like I was just literally like an old piece of garbage. So, and I'm sure he has his reasons for that, but he did. So I didn't say a word, and I saw every single text message between the two of them. That's exactly where he was. He was not in Nashville at a meeting. He was in Chattanooga with his new girl. So I saw all that they had said to each other, whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to go into details of that. But he had on Christmas Day, he had slid into her inbox on Facebook. And I mean, she was very flirty, like, oh, you're the one that got away. And then he was like, well, actually, I'm getting a divorce. And so that was, those conversations were interesting. Some of the things he would say were not very kind about kids and things like that. And they saw it. And so that's another one of those. You made some decisions, and there's repercussions for it. So anyway, when we were even during that time, because we were still living together for another couple weeks. So he would like guard his phone all the time. It was funny. I'm like, buddy, you fall asleep so early. And anyway, I still could see everything. Um, and he had at one time, like we had, he sat me down and he was like, look me in the eye. Angie, look me in the eye right now. I am not seeing anyone, talking to anyone, doing anything inappropriate with anyone. And I'm like, I never said you did. And he said, well, I just thought you might think that. Y'all, if I didn't see, actually know, he gave himself away in so many areas, but whatever. But I mean, he's a very good liar and a very good manipulator. And I mean, it was really weird because when he was saying all this to me, I almost believed him. I had seen it with my own eyes, and I still was like, oh my, and I'm like, no, it was pretty crazy. So he had changed her name in his phone was Carl, trying to pretend like it was a guy. I mean, not that I ever went through his phone and literally never did. If I hadn't walked by, I would have never, ever, ever known. So, and he asked me one time, I was like, I have a feeling I know what this is about. He was like, do you think it's weird that I don't send emojis on text? And I'm like, what? And he's like, some contractor asked me about that. And I'm like, I think it's weird that a contractor would ask you that. Like he was this whole made up this whole story about some contractor asking. No, it was Carl. So that's her nickname. That's we still call her that to this day, Carl the contractor. I think she's long gone. No, I know she's long gone because he's engaged to somebody else now. Don't know what happened to her. Um, my attorney had advised me not to let him know that I knew that. She's like, let's just keep that in our back pocket. Not that a judge would care that much, but where he's lied about it so much, and I have receipts for everything. Everything I say, I have receipts for. So I don't know how I kept my mouth shut, but somehow I did. And so that was Carl the contractor. So we were finally moving out of our house. And I think, you know what? Yeah, I got it literally right now. Okay, I got to go back to work. So we'll get into be part 5 for the next thing.
Okay, so I'm going to make a part 5 real quick. I do need to go run some errands on my lunch break, so this one won't be as long. So we were moving out of our house, and we had lived there, like I said, for so long that like our garage was just full of furniture, boxes, things. So my ex-husband was moving out a couple days before my daughter and I were. And so he had written a U-Haul, and the U-Haul had he had to park it in the driveway. And so there was snow on the ground. It was mid-January, and which is rare in Tennessee, but we did still have some. So I had to park my car on the street. I would just like park it in the like in front of. We had a great big yard, and so I parked my car on the street for probably, I think it might have been the first time ever. And I got up in the middle of the night and to go to the bathroom, and I would always go downstairs to go to the bathroom instead of using the upstairs one. And I went downstairs, and I'm like, what are those lights? Like I saw blue lights, and I'm like, oh, it's probably, do my neighbors still have their Christmas lights up? Because I'm like, they kind of would leave them up for a while, and I was like, well, that's probably all it is. So then I go back upstairs, and then I notice red lights coming through the window upstairs, and I look out the window, and I was like, oh gosh, like I've lived there for 19 years. I'm like, why is there an ambulance at one of my neighbor's house? Like, and I'm being nosy, like just staring, and I'm like, what's that van in the middle of the street? And then I'm like, I didn't park my car there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Yeah. A drunk driver hit my car. I don't know, going like 40 miles an hour. It totaled it. So I go out, and I mean, poor guy, he lived on down the street from me, and he was on his way home, and he went to jail instead because he was intoxicated. So here I am, about to move out, and my Suburban is totaled. And I was planning on using, a Suburban's a pretty big car, so I thought I had all this space to move. You can't make this stuff up. So here, I have this wrecked vehicle moving in 2 days. And my wonderful ex-husband, who was so clearly good with finances, Had taken out a collateral loan on my Suburban. Where did it was, I think, $27,000. Where did that money go? To this day, I don't know. I don't even think he said family stuff. I don't remember. At this point, I'm like, what else? What else can happen? So here I am with a totaled car that's, he's taken out a collateral loan. I'm not going to get anything for it. I have nothing to trade in for my vehicle, and a 590 credit score. So anyway, we did end up moving 2 days later, and we got, my mom and my stepdad had come and helped us with all this stuff, and we got to our apartment. We got everything, like all the boxes in and stuff, and I mean, we just like literally dumped everything. We were exhausted. We're like, we've got to go get some food. So my mom, my stepdad, and my daughter that lives in Knoxville, they were all there helping, and they had already gone on down to the car. And then my daughter, my youngest, she just came up and just wrapped her arms around me and gave me just the biggest hug, and she just said, "Thank you, Mom. I'm so happy. Thank you, Mom." So that was part 5 of this. It's so sad that there's so much more to come, and it's just, I'm telling you, you cannot make this stuff up. You just can't. You just smile through it. I hope everybody has a great day, and I appreciate all the sweet comments. I've so enjoyed reading all of them. I really do appreciate how kind everyone has been to me. But we will have a part 6. We're not done yet. All right, so part 6 of my divorce. So I had already filed for divorce, and he'd been served with papers before we ever moved out of our house. And he was very, very adamant that we did not have attorneys and we could settle everything out of court because, we have been married for 25 years and surely we could come to a conclusion together. I was like, absolutely not. I don't trust you with a fiber of my being. No, I will have representation. So he had spoken with an attorney, just a consultation, because he knows so many people. And he's like, it's in your best interest if we do it out of court because he's a bulldog and he's going to come after you. And I just don't want to do that to you. I really don't want to do that to you. I'm like, what are they going to come after? My $30,000 in credit card debt you took out in my name? Or is it the total vehicle that you have a collateral loan out? So I thought that was crazy. So I was like, no, I stuck to my guns. And so then, of course, he didn't retain that attorney. And he said, well, then why don't we just use your attorney since you're insistent on having one, and I'll just pay for half of it. And so I was just like, whatever, just get this over with. I'm so ready for this to be over. I could not get him out of my life fast enough. I know he's always going to be a part to a certain extent because we have kids, but I was so ready to be done. So he kept having my attorney rewrite things. He didn't like the way this language was written. He didn't like the way that was written. I mean, it was down to our freaking dog. I paid thousands of dollars for him to have it rewritten how I would go about things with our dog that he has nothing to do with now. But buddy, he had to have that written in the divorce. It was just very, very strange. So when all was said and done on the divorce attorneys, it was $25,000 that I paid to an attorney for him to change things over and over again. He didn't want to pay child support. He didn't want to pay this. He didn't want to pay that. When it was all said and done, it was $25,000. Well, I'm sure nobody's going to be surprised to know at the last minute he went and got representation, and he never gave me a dime for it. I never changed one thing in anything in that divorce. It was all him. I just kept saying, yes, okay, and I paid for every dime. But I will say this, it was the best money I've ever spent. Well, I hadn't planned on making a part 7, but I've had lots of people reach out to me like, you totally left us hanging. And I'm like, that's fair. So with everything with the debt, we sold our house and split the equity. And then he did pay for half of it. We even though it was in my name, we just split it halfway down the middle. And with the car, I mean, it is what it is. I had nothing to trade in. And so I just paid cash for a car. There was no way, even if I could get a loan, the interest rate would be absolutely ridiculous. So I just paid cash for a car, and I just stuck all the rest of that money in a high yield savings account. I had thought he was putting money in a retirement account all these years, and that did not happen. Learned that too when I left. So started over at 47 years old. I mean, it sucks, but it is what it is. What are you gonna do? Just gotta make each day the best you possibly can. So anyway, that's where I am now.
Remind me of your gender again? Right, you're a boy. These are for girls only.
Okay, I am gonna make a part 8 on my divorce, but this is most likely the final one, because there's not much more that I can say on here on what all I went through. And well, there's a lot more I can say, or I could say, but I'm choosing not to. And you guys got bullet points, like that was a watered down version of what I actually went through. So a lot of people have asked me about child support, if he paid child support. Yes, he did pay child support. It was, of course, came with stipulations. So the way he had it, he would give me child support, but there was the amount that the judge had decided. And for anything that our daughter was involved in, I had to deduct that from it. And he insisted on paying it. So it could come out of his account. I'm like, it's not you paying it, that's me paying it. You're taking that money that you were paying and having me take it off. So actually, I'm the one paying for it. I didn't care. I'm like, I want my kid to be involved in everything she wants to do. I don't mind that's not a burden. It was just a constant control, and he just wanted to pay the littlest amount he possibly could. He did pay for our youngest child's car as well, and then her car insurance. Of course, there is also a story that goes along with car insurance, and I don't know. I'm going to think about that one to see if I'm going to share that one or not. But I mean, it's like one thing after another. I mean, I left a year and a half ago. My divorce has been final almost a year, and things keep coming up. I'm like, will I ever wake up from this nightmare? Will it ever end? Well, he told me a couple months ago he was taking our daughter's car away, and he was paying he paid way too much money for a car for her. She had no business. And I told him that when we were going through the divorce. I was like, because he wanted me to pay for some of it, and I was like, I'm not paying for something that's in your name. I won't do it. And my daughter was even like, I don't need this car. Like, I don't care. I just need some wheels to get to work and to school. That's all I care about. But he insisted, no, I want my daughter to be in something safe and reliable, and this and that and the third. So he let her keep it. Well, some other things happened in their relationship. That's her story to tell. And he took her car away. And it was expensive. It was. And he did say it was for the finances and then for this other reason too. So he had told me he was giving me until she graduated from high school, because that's whenever child support stopped as well, is when she graduated, because she had turned 18 already, but he had to pay child support until she graduated from high school. And he said, I'll give you till graduation. But with my credit score the way it was, like, I was very limited, and so I needed to pay cash again. And I had saved, I'm actually really good at saving now. So I had a pretty good savings account, and but I was limited on what I could get for her. So it was it took me a while to find her something, and he was very patient. He would text me at, like, every week or two, or I don't know, and just be like, you found a car? And I'm like, no. And we really were looking. It's just really hard on the budget that I've got, and finding something that's safe for her to drive. And but he did let her keep it until I found her a car, and we found her one. She got her a car just a couple weeks ago, actually, and new to her, but it's like her dream car, and found a really good deal, and she's absolutely loving it. So, and I will say too, he would at times, and not consistently, and I mean, sometimes it was consistent, sometimes it wasn't, but But he would randomly like send money for groceries. He's like, you're paying for everything for her. Here, let me just help out with groceries or something. And he didn't have to do that, and he did. So I want to definitely give props where props are due. But that's all stopped now. He since he's getting married, that's not appropriate in his opinion, and that's fine. I literally don't care. I mean, I don't need it. It was nice, and for what all he did to me, I'm like, I'll take every dime you're going to give me after how much money you've cost me in the last year. He had also told me that because our youngest daughter is starting college in the fall, and he had shared with me that he would not be contributing to college. So the school she was really wanting to go to, she got a really good scholarship, but it's a private school, and like 60 grand a year. And even with her scholarship, it was going to be like crazy expensive. And I could have afforded it if he would have split it with me. But he wasn't going to. But she ended up getting a full ride to college. Like she's getting paid to go to school. So, I mean, I'm done paying for college, which is incredible. So anyway, that's kind of where I can leave with that. Like I was just trying to answer some questions on messages I've gotten on how things kind of are. So yeah, it's not been an easy road at all. And even getting away from him, it's not been easy dealing with him since. And that's why I say it's gonna be a part of my life to a certain extent because of our kids. But for the most part, I don't have to talk to him, and I have the most peaceful, wonderful, fun life. I love my life now. But I appreciate everybody again for even being curious about my crazy, crazy stories.